Welcome again to Community Viewpoint. I'm your host for the evening, John Pawlak. I'm here with Chief Scott Lewis and Lieutenant Scott Perry. Got that right. And Maria's not here. And we're doing our continuing series, Where Do We Go From Here on Community Viewpoint. We've had a lot of issues that have been coming up in the past few months, whether it be talking about incorporation, losing the town of Pahrump as per se, and now we have something on the agenda for negotiations for the fire department here. Actually, it was put on last Tuesday by Dr. Waters, and he made the motion to direct the town staff to open negotiations with the union for the fire department regarding wages to achieve $145,000 savings to the town budget, or present options for reduction in force. Now, you'll read a lot about this in the local papers. Pahrump Valley Times, it made the front page, and for some reason it only made page 7 in the Mirror. So I think that's where it belongs, at page 7, before we blow this out of proportion. We have this is where the buck stops here, is with you. We have issues. Vicki Parker brought it up. There's a lot of issues about not being able to collect for the services in the ambulance. That puts us in a deficit. But we've always been in a deficit, basically. Is it that bad this time around?
Well, actually, when we look at the budget for the enterprise fund, when we look at it strictly from a revenues generation and that of our expenditures, we're pretty much in good shape. Where our problem lies, our cash flow is good, but our problem lies where we have we're unable to collect on a lot of our debts. So the bad debt collection is actually much higher. And there's so many different factors, as you talked about, with regard to your recent discussions on this program. The economy drives most of that. We have a lot of indigents. We have people who simply can't pay, yet they need the service. Mm-hmm. And we provide that service no matter what. We don't inquire with them as whether or not they have the ability to pay before we render that service. So those challenges continue to compound. And there are cap rates on other programs that do reimburse us financially, government programs and such. So we're working through those things. But the numbers are real, and they do have a significant impact on the overall bottom line, on the budget, on the enterprise fund.
So we have a deficit of, actually we're looking for $145,000 to balance, basically.
Really, and I just have to make this crystal clear, is that neither Lieutenant Perry or I have the ability to negotiate, and we can't discuss anything with negotiations. The money value that was discussed during the town managers isn't a reflection of the bad debt, it's a reflection of those ongoing negotiations. Okay. I guess is the best way to state it. Right, yeah, we stay away from that because this is not the avenue for that. There is misinformation in newspapers, which it should be clarified. And this one comment here, it says you have to remember that firefighters work 10 days a month, and that is extremely misleading. The Lieutenant, if you want to tell us.
It's true. On average, we do work 10 days a month, but those are 24-hour shifts, putting you at 56 hours a work week. Mm-hmm. And 2 weeks, that gives you 112 hours. So it is 10 days a month, but the hours are a lot more.
You have to stay there.
24. Right.
And so that is in itself, I understand that, and that's the way it's been for many firefighters around the nation.
There's a number of different ways of doing it. Obviously, it depends on the particular community and their contracts or CBAs and what they feel is the best cost-effective manner in which to deliver the services. But there are a myriad of different ways to calculate those hours, and as far as what monies are going to make and the shifts are going to cover.
Yeah. And so what you have to deal with, we have 4 stations in our valley.
Yes. We
have 27 career firefighters, 20 volunteer firefighters, possibly I think 2 civilian non-firefighting individuals, and then 10 volunteer non-firefighting individuals. You deal with fire suppression, you deal with hazmat, fire prevention inspections, and technical rescue and advanced life support EMS services. That's a lot of issues to deal with. Now yourself, I know that you just got your master's degree.
Yes.
So you are constantly learning and bettering yourself. And the firefighters, you just don't hire them, give them a uniform and an axe and say, you can go out there and on-the-job training. They receive a great deal of training also. Is that correct?
They do, and the thing is, we haven't added the staff now in several years, but when there is an open position, depending on what that position is usually how we fill it. So if it's a firefighter paramedic position, which is the ALS that you described, then that's the basic qualifications that we will ask for from the individuals. And of course, the background checks and all those different things come into play.
Mm-hmm.
But each of the guys and gals at workforce or volunteer force are constantly evolving as far as the type of service that we're going to provide to the community. We made a commitment internally a number of years ago that we're going to be an all hazard and all risk, and we're going to be a full service fire department. So no matter what the nature of the issue is that people call 911, we're going to have that basic, if not advanced, means of taking care of their problem. And so we want to be best prepared, and we've made that commitment to each other through training and other means to make sure that that happens. And I think we've been successful. There's still room because, as you know, this department, in my opinion, remains in its infancy. It only became such a department in 1999, and it's still continuing to evolve. There was cross-training articles that were accounted for with the CBA a number of years ago. And we're still on our way towards our end goal, which is, to be the very best fire department we can within the financial responsibilities as deemed upon us by our citizens.
You're continuing to increase your knowledge as you don't just lay there and say, I'm where I'm supposed to be and I can just sit there. You always learn a little bit more. There are new things to learn, and you have to redo your training after a certain, like a CPR. For myself, I take it every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Is the same thing with your
CPR, EMS, all those different issues require a constant or continuing education. It's our hazmat, technical rescue. We do daily training, and that's it. That's all just a part of the components, but there's internal and external training that needs to be accomplished in order to become more, I think, valuable is the really best way to put it to the citizens. Because again, once they have that problem, we're supposed to be the experts to go out there and take care of it, or have the information how they can be taken care of. And it all has to be done in a timely fashion. It's not as if we have the opportunity to sit out there and do a lot of research. We have to make critical decisions in short time periods and have the availability of information, whether it be in our brains or at our fingertips through textbooks, computer programs, to make those decisions.
And you help other areas too. You have mutual aid also for neighboring, who's our neighboring, Shoshone and Tacoma?
California, Nye County, Clark County, BLM, U.S. Forest.
Oh, that's right. All those venues, yeah. And that works both ways also.
It does, and in a lot of cases we're first due because, as you know, BLM in the U.S. Forest is seasonal. And so if they have something that occurs on their property or their lands, then we are the first responders and we make the notifications to them.
Mm-hmm. So, it's you don't think of this. I that's why I have you here, so we can portray this out to the folks out in our valley out here. You have this. Pahrump Valley is almost as large as Las Vegas,
yeah.
And you cover the entire area. From the farthest trailer to the closest. You even have a 3-story building now. You have the ability to reach that
Mm-hmm.
one bank that has a 3-story. It's a 3-story building.
We had a meeting yesterday with Clark County Fire, and they've recognized us as very important stakeholders in their strategic plan. And so they met with us yesterday for several hours, and we reviewed all the information as far as the service levels that we provide to Clark County on a regular basis. And most people assume that it's just the highway and car accidents, but it's actually up in rural Trout Canyon, up in Wallace, and all those different canyon roads where accidents, injuries, medical issues happen. And we're usually the first doing those situations. So we're viewed as much more than just a local entity and a geographical anomaly somewhat of an island. We're instrumental in so many different organizations because we provide those paramedic level services. We have the resources, we have the expertise to go out and assist others.
You are a resource for them, yeah. Mm-hmm. So they can rely on you for the expertise that if they don't have it, you have the comparable resources they have too.
Right. And I work with their chiefs on a regular basis because it's so important that everybody understand what we can bring to the table to each other. And so it's an ongoing endeavor, and I think we've done a good job. And I think our lieutenants, because they're the front line, they're usually out there taking care of these issues, and I think they've done a very, very good job.
Mm-hmm. And Yeah, do you still work with the NTS? Do you have a mutual?
We do. It's a little bit more difficult because
NSS, no.
yeah, exactly. But they're a great group out there. Where they've assisted us in so many different ways, and we have our annual drills with them, which are at very large scale. They're federal level,
Right.
and they look at us for ALS service and hazmat and things like that. And we look for them, and we get those big calls that we can utilize them as well.
Right. Yeah, so there's the mutual aid from on the federal level and through the county level with Clark County and across state lines too.
It's absolutely all levels. In fact, we're part of the mutual aid pack for the state. So if the state actually, through the EMAC system, gets called, we can actually be sent to those incidents, whether it be a wildland issue in California or elsewhere.
Kind of the way we always describe it is for as far as you can see, we go there
Okay,
and beyond.
Yeah. There's a great deal of expertise that's been had by the employees, the firefighters, and yourself, and we should appreciate that. And that's what we're bringing this out to the folks out there. What we're doing now, we're going to be breaking up into 2 segments for YouTube. They won't take the whole show, so we'll do 2 13-minute segments. So we'll be leaving right now and coming back with a second segment of this show. So thank you very much, Lieutenant, and you're staying, and we'll see you back in a couple minutes. Bye-bye.